What's up, everybody? This is Dan from The Greatest Story Ever Played. And because of the Walking Dead episode being delayed until next week, so a couple days, I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So I decided to go look through our old archive and look through maybe some stuff we did in a previous podcast we used to do. And what I came up with was I found a section that we did on the Silent Hill film from 2006. And I thought, that might be something you guys would like hearing. Also, it's October, so might as well jump into a horror movie type deal. So what's going to come next is our little recap / discussion about the film Silent Hill. So, enjoy, and we'll see you next week. We'll move on to Silent Hill. So this came out in 2006, and it's directed by a guy named Christopher Gans, and he directed a movie called Brotherhood of the Wolf, and then A Beauty and the Beast that came out in 2014. So not the recent one, but back then. He didn't seem like he'd done a lot of movies directing-wise anyway. This seemed like his big one, and we'll talk about it. And this is based on the survival horror game series Silent Hill. Have you played the game before?
I've played the arcade version at GameWorks back in the day and at random arcade bars in Columbus now. But that's about it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's all there is.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't played it before.
Yeah,
I've seen it before, but I've never actually played the game.
Yeah, the ones I've played are not related or similar whatsoever.
Yeah, okay.
They're just zombies, and you shoot them with an arcade gun.
Oh, huh. That's different.
Yeah,
then
I don't know.
I would have thought, I'd figure they'd be kind of more like this, but
nope.
Yeah. So we got that cast-wise. So we've got this is surprising. There's a lot of people that I knew in this cast. So we've got Rita Mitchell as Rose De Silva. She was in Man on Fire, that Denzel movie where he protects the little girl.
Yeah.
That movie's awesome.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, and then she's was in Pitch Black and Phone Booth. And then we've got Sean Bean as Christopher De La Silva. So we know him from Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. He was in GoldenEye.
Who did he play in Lord of the Rings, do you know?
Boromir.
Oh.
Yeah. It's funny.
Did not recognize him.
I'm not used to seeing him in Today Times.
And not with
I'm only used to Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones version.
Yeah. Did not recognize
with
that.
a sword.
Yeah. Word.
Yeah. Then we've got Laurie Holden as Sybil Bennett. And she was, of course, in The Mist, the movie. And then in The Walking Dead, and she's in The Americans right now.
We're familiar with her.
Yeah, we're well familiar with her.
Yep.
Then we've got Deborah Kara Unger as Dahlia Gillespie. She was in The Game, Hurricane, and Payback. And then lastly, we've got Kim Coates. He's Officer Thomas Gucci. He was in Sons of Anarchy and Black Hawk Down.
Cool. So this description of this movie is: a woman, Rose, goes in search for her adopted daughter within the confines of a strange, desolate town called Silent Hill. Yeah, so that's generally what the movie is. So Rose has a daughter, and she has nightmares.
Where she sleepwalks too.
Real intense nightmares, sleepwalking, where she's mentioning this place called Silent Hill.
Right.
So her mom, Rose, decides to take her there against her dad, Christopher, played by Sean Bean. He's like, nah, it's not a good idea. I wouldn't do that, whatever.
Right.
But she goes there anyway. While they're there, she gets in a car accident and then wakes up. Her daughter's gone, and she's stuck in this town, Silent Hill. There's some weird chasm.
Right.
She can't escape.
Right. You can't go backwards.
Yeah, and there's this fog.
Yeah.
Around her and ash all over the ground. Mm-hmm. It's a very different place, it looks like, from when she got in the crash.
Yeah.
She can't leave, basically. She's stuck there. So she decides to look for her daughter. At the same time, this police woman named Sybil,
right, she's
there too. They kind of team up at some point during the movie and look for her daughter.
Yeah.
And kind of throughout this whole time, there's these weird, I don't know what you'd call them. There's so sirens go off, and then there's this weird demons.
Yeah.
Or something happens, and these weird demons kind of take over the town for a little bit.
Right.
And she experiences that a couple times.
Right.
Those points are pretty freaky.
Yeah.
I thought they did that pretty well.
Yeah. Just kind of going back a little bit
Yeah.
before the story progresses. So the first thing I thought, and I don't know if this is wrong or not, but so the movie starts off and she's sleepwalking. Rose is going after her daughter and looking for her, and then she finds her like standing on this edge of this cliff, sleepwalking, talking about Silent Hill. And I was like, I mean, I think that if I slept walk or if my kid did, like, you'd think you should like maybe wear some restraints to bed or something. Like if you live by something that dangerous,
Just lock the door at least.
yeah, something. Because just like if you could walk off a cliff while you're sleepwalking, that's pretty dangerous. Like I don't know. It was clear, obviously, that it happened a lot of times, and so it was like, I mean, you know, like maybe Velcro your arms down or something. Like I don't know, something. Just because it seemed pretty dangerous. So that was a thing that started the movie off. That was my first thing, and then
That's fair.
I guess I feel like Rose just has pretty bad judgment, and that's what this movie shows. But
fair.
so then my next thing is, why would you take her to Silent Hill? If I have a kid who's sleepwalking and talking about Silent Hill, and it turns out that's where she's adopted from, but like probably shouldn't know that, I'm not gonna go visit. I'm just not. Like,
Yeah.
it seems like a bad move, and like nothing good will come of it. Let alone when you get there, and you know the things that come from there. A nice catch I had is when she was at the gas station. I was like, she's got Ohio plates. I recognized the license plates.
Yeah.
And then later in the movie, they're like, Chris was looking for it, and he's like, oh, she's driving this kind of car, and it has Ohio plates. And I was like, yes, I caught
From
it.
Columbus, hopefully.
Right, yeah.
Maybe.
I was like, I caught it. You know, I don't usually notice that, but I saw the license plate, and I was like, those are Ohio plates. I know those plates.
From anywhere.
Right. Yeah. Then I guess cutting back to where you were talking about the foghorn. That was pretty scary. It's
I like that.
Notification
That
of
shit's
Silent
supposed
Hill
to go
switching.
crazy. Yeah, whatever.
It's
I don't know what you'd call
and,
it.
and maybe the other way too. It's like the bad is out, the bad is over, the bad. Like I don't know if it alerts when it begins and ends.
I think it just when it begins.
Okay.
Because so I think how
would
they
you know when it's
the
over?
birds.
Oh.
The,
Right.
If you I don't know if you caught. Yeah. So the birds start freaking out because
Right.
they I guess somehow recognize stuff's about to go bad.
Right.
Then this church lets off these sirens that you can hear throughout the whole town, which is pretty creepy. I remember seeing this when I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13 or something.
Right.
And then the next day I heard at noon in Columbus at least they blow those horns. I was like, oh man, this is bad.
Right. On Wednesday.
I thought about that. I was like, oh, this is
They
bad.
always do the tornado siren.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, I like that little addition. It kind of made
Yeah.
something normal pretty scary.
Yeah. I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So then we see Rose exploring, and it turns out that Officer Silva had followed her because she thought she was abducting her daughter.
Yeah, 'cause she felt weird about her daughter, the story behind her, and she was acting weird.
Yeah, when they're at the gas station. So she follows there, and so she actually also ends up in Silent Hill.
Unintentionally.
Unintentionally on the other side also. And so Rose is kind of exploring. Silva finds her. Silva handcuffs her, and it was kind of strange to do that because I don't know, you're exploring this scary town looking for a daughter, but you handcuffed her anyway. Like,
Yeah.
it was weird. But then also, what was weird is they meet their first monster, and Officer Silva starts shooting at it, which is good. But she didn't unhandcuff Rose. But
Yeah.
then Rose also takes the opportunity to run away, and it was like, I mean, if you're handcuffed, like, I'm gonna
You're
still
kinda
stay with the
screwed.
cop, even
With
if
a
I don't.
gun, yeah.
Who I might not like, rather than. I mean, you just saw a monster. Like, I don't know.
I think the lesser of the two evils would be the
Yeah, I'd stay with
cop
the
with
cop.
the gun. Yeah, that's
even if they don't like me, like
yeah.
they weren't gonna let me get eaten by the monster. That's why they started shooting at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I thought that was kind of dumb.
Yeah, there's some.
I think she's just. I mean, later on there's other things, but she just makes a lot of bad decisions for like the first half of the movie.
Yeah, it's fair, and even later on, there's other weird things. It's like, I guess, overall, like she's trying to find her daughter who went missing. So a lot of decisions are kind of based around that.
Right.
And I don't agree with all of them, but like, it's kind of the vein those decisions were made in, whatever.
Right.
And yeah, and things kind of get crazier from there. Like she meets
Dahlia.
Dahlia, yeah. Dahlia is like this crazy woman living in Silent Hill,
Right.
who had a daughter who was burned alive
Right.
for being a witch, or Was that it? Being a witch or like
Yeah.
possessed by Satan or same thing? I guess I don't know.
Yeah. And, and it was weird because she's the first person we've met,
Yeah.
and she tells us when we meet her that my daughter got burned, and you're like, by who? Like, we
Yeah,
haven't
like,
met
what
it.
is happening?
We've seen a monster, and then you, who looks
Like who else
super
is here?
rough. you
Yeah,
know?
she's pretty weird.
Yeah,
Pretty
weird,
freaky interaction.
Yeah, like coal miney looking, like
Mm-hmm.
all that. So I mean, already it was all very odd.
Yeah, and then so her daughter ends up. You find this out a little bit later. She looks exactly like Rose's daughter.
Right.
And then things kind of start to. You kind of start thinking, and kind of piece together, like, okay, there must be some connection there.
Right.
So it kind of goes forward, and
Then we get Chris.
oh yeah, Chris and the cop
They come to
are in the
Silent.
real world.
Yeah, so Chris comes to Silent. Chris follows after her because
Mm-hmm.
he called Rose and found out what she was doing, and so he's like, all right, I got to go after her. So he's, I don't know, a few hours behind her, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets there, and he ends up meeting Officer Thomas Gucci.
Mm-hmm.
And so he meets him, and they go explore Silent Hill. And we see Rose likewise exploring Silent Hill at the same time, and we realize, oh my gosh, there's two versions of
Two
Silent
different
Hill.
like planes of existence almost. It's real weird.
It's like the Upside Down in Stranger Things.
yeah,
like
that's
it's like
that's good. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
it's like that because you even like see Christopher walk by where Rose is, and
Like
Rose
right
is
next to each other.
right next to her, and Rose is crying wherever she is, and it seems like he like has a sense that there's something
Yeah.
there, but she's in the Upside Down or whatever, and so
Mm-hmm.
that was cool. I think I saw this like you like over 10 years ago,
Long
whatever,
time ago,
2006.
Yeah.
Back then. And so I didn't really remember anything about it. So I didn't realize that there was an Upside Down of sorts, which that was cool. I did like that. And
Yeah.
it was cool seeing how different they looked. Like the regular world Silent Hill, it looked messed up, but the underside up Silent Hill was creepy, like scary.
Yeah,
all
ash
that.
everywhere. You feel like you get killed at any moment.
Right.
And they did a really good job of this too, like the isolation feel. Like
Right.
you're by yourself, you're screwed. You got you and your friend, whoever you got, Sybil.
Right.
That's what you have, and they did that really well. And then I guess things kind of progress forward, and then I forget. Does she? At some point, she interacts with this cult that's there.
Right.
That ended. You find out they actually burned this little girl alive. Not her daughter, but the one that looked like her.
Right.
They burned her alive. And you also end up meeting the girl who was burned alive,
Right.
but now she's like possessed by Satan.
Yeah.
They don't really
like that.
explain that very well.
Yeah.
Demon possessed or a demon or something. She's kind of behind all of what's happening at Silent Hill.
Right.
So you meet her, and then she kind of gives Rose clues of how to find her.
Right.
Like, or find her daughter or something. I forget exactly
Yeah.
what she's trying to do. She's trying to reach this demon,
Right.
essentially. And she gets clues how to do that. And then, long story short, she ends up going through this weird dungeon-y type thing where there's these weird nurses that are like blind with
Yeah.
like switchblades. That part was pretty freaky, but also pretty weird.
Yeah.
Just to like maneuver through these like this hallway of like blind nurses
Yeah.
with like switchblades that if you like moved or breathed, they'd like just mess you up.
Right.
And then she like goes down to this crazy elevator and gets to this demon who like basically tells her, I want to possess you, kind of, to like go into this church and kill everybody.
Right.
And Rose is like, okay.
Right.
Which I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But again, if she's trying to find her daughter and you feel like this is the only way you can do that, makes sense, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Never been in that position before.
Right. Yeah. This is where the movie gets very crazy.
Yeah.
And weird. Like,
It's hard to follow.
because she gets she ends up meeting more of these people in the church cult, whatever, and so they're running towards the church, and one person's like, "You should stay out here. Don't go in the church with them," and then the other church followers are, "No, come in here because the big monster's coming," which ends up having like a
The pyramid cage head
yeah,
thing.
the pyramid head.
Yeah.
So pyramid head is
huge.
is going to be coming, and she is Rose is indecisive, but then does end up Rose and Officer Sybil. They do choose to go into the church, but all the way there, the pyramid head. There's this girl who's
Throwing rocks at the.
at the other girl who wants to stay outside.
It's
At Dahlia.
It's Dahlia, the demon girl's mom.
Yeah,
She's,
Dahlia
like, throwing
stays
rocks, calling her
outside.
like a whore and other stuff.
Yeah, is anti-her and wants to throw a rock at her. Then Pyramid Head shows up.
This part was crazy.
Yeah, and then in one swoop rips all her clothes off. Next swoop rips all her skin off,
Mm-hmm.
and then just tosses her like bloody meat body essentially. And it happened so fast, and you're just like, holy shit!
That was a brutal scene.
It was insane. And seeing Sybil and Rose, they're both outside and they see it happen. They're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
They run inside the church.
That's fair.
And so you're like, all right, this is insane. And then, right, like you said, from the church, they learn about
All that's happened, they
All
burn
that's
this
kind of
girl.
happened.
What's happening, kind of.
and how to get to the demon, like you said. Mm-hmm. So then, like you said, the sneaking through the like the blind nurses thing, I thought this scene was like scary, but also I kind of thought it was dumb and laughed at it. Because so
Fair.
in one sense, they're like, she's sneaking through them. She has to be like silent, but they'll move if she breathes or walks or whatever. Like she has to be really quiet and that kind of thing. And they just move, but it looks like they're doing like a synchronized dance almost. Like the whole time I just was thinking about like them like doing the nay-nay, like
Yeah.
whipping and nay-naying.
Yeah.
That was all I thought about while she was going through that, and they all end up like stabbing each other because they're all blind and can't see and stuff. And I was like, this is a very weird, like, it felt like a video game.
It's based on one, so
it's
yeah.
based on one, so it makes sense. But this part especially felt like a video game. Like you stealthed through
The horde of nurses.
the knived dancers. So I thought it was weird. It was like kind of scary, but also
Yeah.
kind of silly.
Also, another point about this too is like, so these nurses, they're blind because one of the nurses ended up like looking at the girl after she was burned,
Right.
and she
through,
was in
a-
like the ICU. So it's
Right.
like, why would you blind them all? Like it didn't make sense. It was like she was curious, so
yeah, it seemed like a bigger punishment than
yeah.
deserved.
So there's a lot. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. They don't really explain things like that. Like,
yeah,
how did this little girl get possessed or whatever she was?
right.
Why is all this happening here? It just was relatively confusing.
Right.
There's a few answers for all the questions I feel like I had
Right.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I guess do you want to go to the? So then it culminates with them going to the congregation.
Yeah, in the church.
or-
Because real quick, so the demon or Satan or whatever could not get inside the church. That's why like big pyramid
its
head.
own, right.
Yeah, and they needed someone to let it into the church.
Right. So then Rose teams up with it.
Yeah, she's
And
like,
so
"All
then
right."
Rose comes back to come into the church,
Mm-hmm.
and they think it's just Rose. Then boom, everything gets fucked up.
There comes a demon with these weird like razor blade ropes that come out of her. And
Yeah.
slices up everyone and kills them all.
Yeah. So then you get a fun, brutal, crazy,
Pretty bloody, pretty crazy.
bloody scene. Before this, Sybil gets burned alive.
that was brutal too.
That was messed up.
Yeah, Sybil was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah.
So you just get this crazy gore-fest end, essentially. And then Rose is still trapped in the Upside Down, even when she gets off of
Yeah,
Silent
so
Hill.
she gets her daughter back,
Right,
and then she like the demon like lets her leave, kind of.
Right.
But she's still in this world, but she's not in Silent Hill.
and she
Which-
does, but she doesn't know that.
Yeah, well, I assume she doesn't.
I
She
don't-
goes back to her house, and it's like,
She doesn't see Chris there.
yeah, but he's there.
Yeah,
And like ash is still kind of falling from the sky. It looks the same,
Right.
but it's not as
Yeah,
ruined,
right, not as dark as Silent
which is
Hill.
pretty messed up. You think
Right.
about it. Like that was another thing that's weird. I mean, not that you'd ever trust Satan or whatever. You know, it's like whatever
Right.
this evil thing was. Not like you'd trust him to, like, okay, I care about you. I'm gonna help you out.
Right.
But still, it was like I just didn't get that.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I was.
It was strange. So, I guess, I don't know, some kind of overall thoughts. I thought the story in this movie was not so great, and some of the things weren't as great, but I really liked how Silent Hill looked. We've talked about that a couple times, but
Yeah.
I really liked the look of this movie. And even, I guess even talking about, probably the first half I thought was better than the second half. The second half had some more fun, crazy gore shit going on, but the movie definitely got less good. Like in terms
Yeah.
of being a good movie, it definitely went down.
Yep.
But if you're looking for kind of a fun, fucking shit up type thing, you're good there. And if you're looking to have Silent Hill look good, it does.
It does.
And then also, Laurie Holden, I'd never seen her with short hair before.
I neither. Yeah,
but I
did
thought
not
it looked pretty
recognize
good,
her.
actually, which I was surprised by. I just, seen her as Andrea, or I forget her character's name in The Mist, but,
Yeah.
had looked the same there. So, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I'd never seen that. So,
Yeah.
overall, I don't know.
It's
It was all right.
I'd agree, like, about your midway through was, like, it just got way too crazy. There's just all these things, like, it almost felt like they, obviously it's based on video games, so it can't be that good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would never base a movie off a video game and be like, oh, it's going to be sick.
Yeah, I wonder if
I
can't be that good
If
by
you can
nature.
think of one, let us know, because I can't think of a good movie based off a video game, personally. But yeah, once they kind of threw in this weird, like, demon girl and, like, kind of added that in, it got pretty confusing. I liked the tension and like, them trying to survive until then. But once you kind of knew what was happening more, it was like, okay, this is dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But also, fun fact, this is based on a real town.
Is it?
Not in the sense of, like, all this happened, obviously.
Right.
But so the backstory of this town was, like, there was some coal mine
Right.
explosion under the ground, and, like, basically there was, like, fire shooting out of the ground.
Right.
That happened. This was based on Centralia, Pennsylvania. That happened in that city or that
Shit.
town. So there's, like, you can still go there. It's evacuated, but there was an underground coal mine or natural gas mine or something that blew up.
Wow.
So there's, like, literally a fire shooting out of the ground at this town, like crevices,
Wow.
like cracks in the ground with fire coming out of it. It's there.
Was it? I'm guessing too. Like in this, you couldn't breathe. Like you weren't supposed to go up there because you couldn't breathe. Like at least initially around when it happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
Because,
they evacuated it.
Sulfur and all that.
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly. And people were also, whole buildings were, like, falling into this into the ground,
That's
and, like,
crazy.
people died. Like,
Wow.
it was huge.
That's insane.
I found out about this, like, 2 years ago after
Oh,
I was
wow.
telling someone about this movie. But you can go there. It's dangerous because,
Right.
the ground still gives away, like, random points, so you can
Oh, wow.
fall into this pit
That's
of
scary.
fire and die. But it's. I think that was pretty cool. Once I heard about that, I was like, all right, that's
That
pretty cool.
like lends like credit to
Mm-hmm.
Silent Hill, the movie or game.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Or well, I don't know. Yeah.
So that's a little fun fact.
Yeah.
I agree with you though on the movie. I think it's okay. It's a okay horror movie, I
Yeah.
guess. If you haven't seen it, I guess I'd still see it. But don't expect a whole lot out of it.
Yeah, I guess if your expectation isn't like it's one of the best horror movies, you'll be fine. It has some fun stuff, and some of it looks good. And if you're just looking for something like that, you're fine,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.